Games like Dungeon Keeper and Evil Genius have always been appealing to me, aligning with my love of time management and pure, unfiltered evil in a lovely and convenient way. Legend of Keepers takes the traditional gameplay of something like Darkest Dungeon and reverses the roles we're used to, giving you control over the horrific dungeon as well as the traps, spells and monsters you can use to bombard the hapless adventurers that dare to cross the threshold into your domain. It's hard not to cackle like Tim Curry as the interlopers crumble before you or run screaming and crying from the hordes of challenges you've placed before them. But honestly, it's a great way to indulge those darker desires, to really lose quite a lot of time and to just have a brilliant time with a rather fantastic game.
This is my favorite bit. Make sure you analyze each group of adventurers. Your employees are counting on you to prepare an effective strategy.
With a wide range of abilities and modifications available, the replayability on offer here is endless. I enjoyed the gameplay loop, but I didn't know how I truly felt, until I took a look at the clock and realised I'd played about 4 hours in one sitting, and I've been back since. So let's look at why it's so successful, why I recommend it, and why I think you should play Legend of Keepers. It's safe to say that we've all had a bad day, and we're all used to being at the mercy of fate, which is why I think this game is so therapeutic and easy to get lost in. Giving us the ability to consider the stats and abilities of the adventurers we'll face before placing our traps and minions, the game allows us to really create the perfect bad day for the attacking forces, with each carefully placed obstacle a combination of their weaknesses and fears. Enemies can be defeated in raw combat, but can also be overwhelmed by fear and flee the dungeon, meaning you're able to cater to your own individual tastes to create something either incredibly dangerous or truly horrifying. It's therapeutic to not only be in control, but to be the odds themselves that we usually have to overcome. It feeds our power fantasies and lets us imagine ourselves as the ultimate evil mastermind, dedicated to thwarting the attempts of the goody-goody heroes that think they can defeat us and take the gold and treasure we keep. Evil doesn't come without having a few casualties, so many times your creatures and your traps will be defeated and overlooked by the adventurers, who will continue to pour deeper and deeper and deeper towards yourself, but at the same time it's a slow and steady slog that drains away their will to fight and their health. Each room they enter could contain something different, for example a trap that will poison them or injure them directly, or maybe something that will affect their willpower, their mental fortitude and their emotional strength. We're slowly but surely wearing these enemies down to the point where they can't continue to stand against us, and when the final hero falls, it's a really great feeling. Much of the fun in Legend of Keepers actually happens behind the scenes, where you take on the role of an office manager or sports coach, maintaining your chosen creatures and monsters as well as your traps and resources. Random events and encounters can throw a spanner in the works, but they can also help to maximise your creature and trap potential. This means that it's very possible to become incredibly strong if you really think about your choices. It's something that often feels purely left to chance in many games that utilise an RNG system. With this game though, the randomness of the system doesn't seem to be the only factor in deciding whether or not you succeed or fail with your defence, with your choices having a direct impact on the success or failure of your overarching plot. Sure, that imp may have destroyed a catapult, but your decision to rest him on the bench and spend valuable resources to train him up to a level that was competent will lead to a victory later and help push those heroes back for successful defence at a point later on. It's this aspect that makes the game so addictive and engrossing, and you can really be the middle manager from hell with your perfect team on the bench, your subs relaxing and ready, and your traps perfectly tuned to cause chaos to some unwitting heroes later on. The game grows as you continue to play, with new rooms added, meaning that you can have greater control over the defence of the dungeon, but also meaning that the heroes can in turn become far stronger and harder to beat. They'll have better abilities and skills as the game goes on, with passive effects allowing them to deal damage, avoid debuffs and more. It's a great way to keep you on your toes, but I feel that the morale system suffered here as it gets almost too difficult to win by fear alone, meaning you'll often have to resort to violent measures. The upgrade system allows variation in regard to your chosen overlord, with abilities available to acquire as you level through gameplay. This means you can really tailor your character to your liking as the game progresses, whether that be in close combat, special abilities, or in regard to the creatures they command. The fact that there's also unlockable villains available in the game means that it's always possible to mix things up, and there's some reason to keep playing regardless of how long you've been playing already. However, I'd love to see more in future, and I'd like to see even more monsters and creatures added to the lineup. Granted, there's already a huge amount of content here, but I'd love to see this game continue to grow and progress as time goes on, with more and more creatures, characters, enemies and dungeons created and added to the already addictive title. I feel like this could go on for a very long time, and this could quite easily become one of my favourite time-killing games of this year. Appealing to my own God complex and giving me the powers and abilities I need to crush hapless adventurers, I had a blast with Legend of Keepers. It was a great game that continued to give even when I thought I'd seen everything already, meaning that I had a really enjoyable time not only defending my dungeon but also discovering all the things on offer and appreciating the art style and world around. It's a joy to play that I can't recommend enough as something to kill time, and I'd love to see this game on Switch, for example, as it's something great to play when you're travelling, but it's also fantastic to play on Steam. I can't recommend it enough, and I didn't know how much I was addicted to this game until I saw the debriefing at the end of my playthrough. I've played through since, I've played through multiple times, and honestly, I really hope I see this one grow over time. But anyway, thank you very much for tuning in, everyone. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and hopefully I'll catch you again for another adventure very, very soon.